We are back, and what do we have? We have the crazy man in the middle, Rodney Cox from Game Time, as well as my man Daniel from Varsity Breakdown. My name's Chris from So AC Football, and we are doing another prediction of a region, which is going to be the 2A Salt. And we're going to go over that one. This is a different one for me and Rodney because we are hitting in the Pinal County, which is obviously a lot more of the territory that Daniel covers during the Varsity Breakdown. I know two of those teams are mainly yours, but you're also covering that whole region. Is that correct, Daniel?
That is correct. So you'll see a lot of Phoenix teams out in this region, but a region that can be a lot of fun depending on how the competition plays out this year. So
Who are your two main teams that you cover from Pinal County, though?
that's going to be Santa Cruz Valley and then Sequoia Pathway. Two totally different teams on different spectrums. We'll get into why. And, I'm actually interested to see how both their seasons play out, especially with Santa Cruz Valley, who is bringing in some tough returning players this year.
Well, and I'm also excited to see Sequoia Pathway return. Obviously, running into a little bit of situation last year, having to end their season a little early, which is also going to be why you're going to see the ranking here as we go in. And like we always do, we look at how Max Preps ranked these teams last year. And we're going to go ahead and look at how some of these teams did last year as Daniel goes over them. And then we'll go ahead and move into their schedules.
All right, we're gonna start out with Arte Prep, who went 4-6 last year, 2-4 in the region. Chandler Prep went 6-4, 3-3 in the region. Heritage Academy went 6-5, 4-2 in the region. Then you have NFL Yet, who went 3-7 and 1-5 in the region. Santan Charter went 8-2, 5-1 in the region. Santa Cruz Valley, your defending 2A Salt champions, went 8-2 last year and 6-0 in the region. And then Sequoia Pathway, as you can see in NA next to their season. I believe they canceled their season 4 games into their short schedule, forfeiting the remaining games. So that's why you see the NA there with them.
And as you were mentioning, I don't know if you mentioned it, but the two going from the playoffs last year, Santa Ana Charter as well as Santa Cruz Valley. But one thing, like I was mentioning, we do look at what Max Preps ranked these teams at the end of the season last year, and we're going to see whether or not we feel that they do as good, better, or worse this next season. What's our prediction on how we see them? Arte Prep came in at 197, Chandler Prep 166. Heritage Academy came in at 151. NFL Yet 210. Santan Charter 95. Santa Cruz Valley 109. And Sequoia Pathway, even with that kind of situation that happened with them, they came in at 205. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting to kind of jump in this, see what happens. Knuckle up.
Let's go.
All right. So, we're going to start off as we jump in with Arte Prep.
Perfect.
Go ahead, Rodney, cover this one up here.
Yes, sir. So Arte Prep ranked 197. Their first 2 games are going to be home games against Sequoia Pathway, who's ranked 205, and ALA Anthem South, who's ranked 214. Then their next 2 games are going to be away at Globe, who's ranked 196, and at Glendale Prep, who's ranked 173. Before the bye, they play against Santa Cruz Valley, who's ranked 109. That is a home game. After their bye, they have an away game at NFL Yet, who's ranked 210. And then their home game, Heritage Academy, who's 151. And then away game at Chandler Prep, 166. Then a home game, Coronado, who's ranked 217. And then they will end their regular season at Santan Charter, who's ranked 95th. Again, Max Preps has them going 4-6. Myself and Daniel have them going 3-7 with Chris teaming up with Max Preps, again, 4-6. So, Daniel, talk to me a little bit since we're kind of on the same wavelength, 3-7. Talk to me.
All right. So I have them winning their first 2 games against Sequoia Pathway, ALA Anthem South. I think those are 2 programs that are looking to trend upward. So I think they have no problem taking care of them. They beat Anthem South 35-0 last year, and of course the forfeit against Sequoia Pathway. And then I also have them picking up a victory against NFL Yet this year. They beat them 48-0.
Mhm.
But 3 wins, one less win than last year. They're not playing Coronado this year, whom they beat last year. So only 3 wins for the Chargers. But if you kind of take a look at this team, a lot coming back on both sides of the ball. They got Prahlad Rattan, quarterback returning, TJ Otten, and Adam Pham. Their 2 running backs plus their second ranked running back, which is their quarterback. And then you got their number 1 and 3 receivers coming back. And this looks like a team that passes the ball quite a bit more than they run. Their leading rusher, Otten, only 184 yards on the year. So it just shows how much they air the ball out. But Chris, you were agreeing with Max Preps. Where do you have their 4th victory coming from?
Wait, we got news. We got news coming in. Rodney made a mistake. He's teaming up. I got you. He's teaming up with Chris.
Okay.
Going 4-6. Sorry about that. So yes, go ahead, Chris.
Coronado. I'm sorry.
So the 4, and I think you said with Coronado too. You kind of missed that.
Yeah, I missed on that one too.
So I are you switching it now? Because if you're gonna do it, switch it now.
You better.
I'll keep it the same.
So I think with my 4 wins, and I think it's easier to kind of go that way. Obviously, going 4-6. I think Sequoia Pathway, we all agree, Sequoia Pathway. Obviously, we got a lot to learn about Sequoia Pathway not having that program ending off last year. ALA Anthem South would be the next one, the second one, which we all agree on as well. Seeing where that program's going, probably in the right direction, just not there yet for Arte Prep. NFL Yet always struggles, which we'll talk about them here shortly. That was my 3rd win, and my 4th win is obviously Coronado. I think it's a little like they're coming up in their program. I agree with Max Preps. This is where they are. Nothing really here to kind of shake and bake or stir it up for me.
You know what? And real quick, I want to give a shout out to their head coach, Mike Marino. He's well known. He's coaching our All-Star game before. So again, mad props to him. Again, last year they went 4-6. Again, we can see them right around that same record, 4-6, 3-7. So, again, just big shout out. Arte Prep, let's get it. Yay!
So much. What the heck is wrong with this guy?
What is going on?
Anyways, so we're going to jump into the next team here, which is going to be Chandler Prep. Go ahead, Daniel, take that one away for me.
All right, Chandler Prep's coming in at 166. They'll have a tough opening game at home against Santa Cruz Valley, who's 109. Then they're on the road at St. John Paul II on a Thursday night, who is 206. Home against Highland Prep, who's 198. At Miami, who is 189. Home against Sequoia Pathway, who is 205. At Santan Charter, who is 95. Home against Scottsdale Prep, who's 147. On the road against NFL Yet, who is 210. And then they'll be at home against Arte Prep, who's 197. And after the bye, they'll be on the road at Heritage Academy, who is 151. Max Preps has them going 6-4 this year, with me and Chris agreeing with that. But Rodney got him going 7-3. Talk to me there.
Listen, so their losses, right? I have them losing to Santa Cruz Valley, which we all agree, but also losing to Santan Charter and then Scottsdale Prep. I have them, and I know Coach Colton Reese is going to be mad at me at Heritage Academy. He's one of the coordinators over there. I have Chandler Prep beating Heritage Academy, and that's why I have them going 7-3. Again, man, Chandler Prep, I mean, obviously they have their quarterback coming back, he's a pup. He's a 2027. Again, he threw for a little over 1,200 yards. 2 out of their 3 running backs are gone. The one that's coming back is it Timmy? Tim. Yeah, okay. You know what? Hopefully I'm not messing it up. Sorry. But he's coming back, and he was a big factor in their run game and in their passing, and also on defense as well, because all of their tacklers are all coming back with Joey, Timmy, and then James. I mean, again, at the end of the day, I got them going 7-3. Let's go. Showtime, game time. Chris, you got them going 6-4. Just
I think
ridiculous.
the only loss that I have coming to them is actually the Heritage Prep game. You know, aside from your Santa Cruz Valley as well as Santan Charter, Scottsdale Prep. I think the fourth one for me, and I believe is same for Daniel here, of making the 6-4 is the Heritage Academy loss there at the end of the season. You know, I think these are the same ones that pretty much Max Prep agreed with. So once again, there's nothing really that's shocking me here in this region when it comes to the last two games or two programs that we just covered.
Right. Yeah, I mean 7-3, 6-4. I think they went 6-4 last year, so right around again in that same 6-4, 7-3. So yeah, cool deal.
We'll see what happens.
How similar these schedules might be out compared to Max Preps, just because it's all these teams kind of linger around the same area. I had them with the Heritage Academy. Heritage Academy beat them 54-27 last year. So I know that they have a good amount of people coming back. So we'll see what they do on that last game of the season, because it's going to be a fun one this year.
Which is a perfect segue to go into Heritage Academy. So Rodney, go ahead and jump on that one if you want.
Yes, sir. Heritage Academy, who comes in at 151. Their first two games, both on a Thursday, and they're both home games. NFL Yet, who's ranked 210, Tombstone, who's ranked 155, and then they go away playing against Valley Lutheran, who's ranked 200. They have a quick little bye week, and then they go away to ALA Westfoot Hills, who's ranked 72, and then Trivium Prep, who's ranked 167, which is a home game. And then they go at Santa Cruz Valley, who is 109, at Arte Prep 197, and then a home game Santan Charter, who's ranked 95th, and then at Sequoia Pathway 205, and then they're going to end their regular season home game against Chandler Prep. Max Preps has them going 7-3. Daniel has them going 7-3, while myself and Chris have them going 6-4. Daniel, the floor is yours, 7-3.
All right. So I'll go with the losses just because there's less of them. I have them losing to Tombstone on that Thursday night game. On the road at ALA West Foothills. I think that's another tough program building there in the 3A. And then, of course, I have them losing to Santa Cruz Valley, which they lost 32-14 last year. But I think that this is a solid program coming in. They got a lot of returning players, just kind of like Chandler Prep. I mean, you can't really get too much of what they did last year. If you look at the stats, I mean, very little entered as far as that goes, but they do have their quarterback, Seth Skousen, coming back. Elliot K. Hall was their leading rusher last year. Jonathan Turkett and Elliot K. Hall, both number 1 and number 2 at wide receiver. And then Caden Harris, and I'll say his name a third time, utility guy, Elliot K. Hall, their number 1 and number 2 tacklers. So a lot coming back on the front part of this program. So I have them actually improving from what they did last year.
I'll take like the next one. I'm with you on the 6-4, Rodney. We just kind of choose to maybe like one of these is different. I think we all agreed on the Tombstone being one of the first losses. The next one, obviously, ALA West Foothills. And the third one being the third loss for us all is Santa Cruz Valley. Where me and you differ from, I'll actually take my fourth loss as Trevion Prep. They seem to be solid. They're coming back. A lot of their kids are returning. I think that's more of the challenge over the one that maybe you picked. So that's my 4. I'll go ahead and let you talk about your 4th pick since we have 3 of them the same.
Absolutely. So I picked them losing to Chandler Prep, who we just talked about. Again, Chandler Prep, I mean, obviously they lost guys just like how Heritage Academy did. Listen, I know Coach Reese is going to be mad at me because they beat Chandler Prep last year a lot to a little. But again, I got to throw a curveball in there, right? So that's why I'm like, okay, maybe, Chandler Prep is going to come out with some revenge, a revenge game. You should do that, to end the season. So that's why I picked them to lose, with them going 6-4.
And what about you, Chris? What do you or Rodney? Why don't you think Trivium Prep would be victorious against Heritage Academy?
You know what? Trivium Prep is, I mean, is a solid team. I'll be honest with you, I don't know too much about them. So, I just flipped the coin and it landed on heads. So that's why I had heads H for Heritage Academy to win.
Okay, and they win 3-7 last year, beating St. John Paul the second, San Pasqual, and Antelope Union. So
Yeah.
just to give you a little head, a program that's up and coming. But I've seen them play. I mean, they're a team that started, just a few years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And so they're coming into probably a lot of seniors maybe this year, and why they could probably have a better season.
So what you're saying is that Chris made a dumb decision having them lose.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm gonna go with Heritage
I'm
over.
worried about it.
Let's go. That'd be my mistake, like Coronado. So
like Coronado. I feel you.
All right, next one, Danny. Go ahead and take away the NFL yet.
All right, NFL yet. They're coming in at 210. They'll start on the road Thursday night game at Heritage Academy, who's 151, as well as on the road at Catalina, who's 208. Home against Madison Highland, who's 175, and Mini Farms, who's 219. That'll be a Thursday night game as well. Then after their bye, they're on the road at Santa Cruz Valley. 2 home games, or Santa Cruz Valley's 109. 2 home games against Arte Prep, who is 197, and Chandler Prep, who's 166. On the road at San Pasqual, who is 215. Final home game against Santan Charter, who's 95. And then they'll be on the road at Sequoia Pathway, who is 205, where Max Preps has them going 2-8. Rodney, you're in agreement, while Chris and I have them improved by 1 game, going 3-7.
It's going to be tough, right? I mean, we don't know too much about NFL yet, just with, stats and things like that. So we're kind of just going off of not really guessing, but it's kind of just, that's what we're doing. So again, I have them winning against Mini Farms on a Thursday night and at San Pasqual out there in California. Again, that's just how I see it. Hey, you know what? Prove me wrong. Win more than 2 games. Go out there and compete.
I think on my half, I think the only other win that we got here is the Sequoia Pathway. I mean, having a struggle to finish off their season last year, and I think you're agreeing with me on this one, Daniel. It's hard for me to go ahead and throw something out when you struggle to finish off a year. It's almost like prove it to me that you deserved my win. So that's why I picked the third win to come on the edge of Sequoia Pathway. But once again, I think Rodney, you said something here, as well as maybe Daniel said earlier too. Coaches, please post up the stats so we can kind of look and actually get a better, sense of what's going on with your program coming back, and also to give those kids some shout outs that they deserve it. So that would be my only other thing. But was there anything else you wanted to add on that one there?
No, I don't really think so. Just to kind of piggyback on the 3 wins that we have, that was their sole 3 wins last year, beating Mini Farms 42-0, San Pasqual 36-14, and of course the forfeit at the end of the year to Sequoia Pathway. So a lot of expectations for NFL yet. I know they're a program that more tends to have a better basketball program than they do a football program. So just you can't be successful in every sport, and I think this is the sport that they struggle.
Yeah,
got you.
Yeah.
Next one up is going to be this is going to be on Rodney.
Yes, sir. So we have Santan Charter. Real quick, give it up for Chase Cartwright. That's a buddy of mine. We actually worked together way back in the day in the recruiting game. But Santan Charter comes in at 95. Their first game is an away game on a Thursday. So it's at Scottsdale Christian, who's ranked 52. The next game is a home game against Shadow Mountain, who's ranked 165. Then they're at Santan Foothills, who's ranked 149. And then before their bye week, they're playing against Now, hopefully I say this correctly. On a Saturday, is it Veritas Prep?
Veritas.
Veritas. I knew I was going to mess it up. That's why I got my two guys there to help me out. Veritas Prep, who's ranked 131. After their bye week, they play a home game against Chandler Prep, who's ranked 150 or 166. Then they're at Sequoia Pathway, who's ranked 205. Home game, Santa Cruz Valley, who's at 109. At Heritage Academy. I'm sorry, wait. Home game, Santa Cruz Valley, 109. At Heritage Academy, 151. And then at NFL Yet, who's 210. And then they're going to wrap up their regular season at Arte Prep, who's ranked 197. Santan Charter, Max Preps has them going 9-1, which we don't see that at all. I have them going 5-5 with Chris. Daniel has them going 6-4. Chase Cartwright, I'm sorry, bro. Maybe you can pie me in the face if you do go 9-1, but I don't see it. Not at all.
What are you thinking, Daniel?
Oh, well, I'm the only one who kind of differed from
Right.
Santan Charter. I have them beating teams like Shadow Mountain, Santan Foothills, Chandler Prep, Sequoia Pathway, NFL Yet, and Arte Prep. I think if you were going to throw one of those games that could possibly go the other way, maybe a Chandler Prep just with what they have coming back. But if you take a look at Santan Charter from the top down, I mean, they're losing everybody. They only got Uriah Neelums, their number one wide receiver.
He good.
6'4", 200-pound wide receiver. So he's definitely going to make an impact for Santan Charter. And then you have Tegan Kane, their number 3 ranked tackler coming back. But I mean, Zayden Neal, not only was he the number 1 quarterback throwing for over 3,100 yards, he was also their leading running back at 865 yards. And then you lose Kane Ramirez and Mike Aguinaga, I believe is how you pronounce the last name. But both of them over 550 yards or more. So a lot you're kind of trying to have to replace. I just don't think it's a 9-1 season, but I do give them a chance to be at least 6-4, maybe a possible 7-3.
I can see that. Yeah.
Now me and Rodney kind of come in here with wins, and we agree with some of them. I differ a little bit. My wins are going to be Shadow Mountain. Give me that one. Give me Chandler Prep. Also Sequoia Pathway. And then the 2 at the end of the year, NFL Yet, as well as Arte Prep. Those would be my 5 wins that I like. I know me and Rodney kind of differ on one of them, but I'll let him go ahead and shoot that one. That's on him.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I mean, again, we have the same wins as far as Shadow Mountain. I have them winning against Santan Foothills. That differs from you again. That's really pretty much it. Is I have them winning Santan Foothills while you have them losing. So again, I have them going 5-5 again.
Let the cat out of the bag, Rodney. Go ahead, bud.
Wait, what's the cat out the bag?
Where's the 5th win coming from?
Where's my 5th win coming?
Huh?
Where's my 5th win coming? Tell me.
Oh man!
So his 5th win here, right?
Okay.
Is so.
Or,
you have this
I mean, their 5th loss. I should say.
Oh, you mean 5th loss? I was like, wait.
It's Sequoia Pathway loss. That's what it is.
Listen. You know what's funny is, I'm gonna go with Sequoia Pathway. Santan Charter. Y'all gonna lose against them, right? Again, I gotta throw a curveball, man. I can't team up with y'all all the time. So
your buddy's Payne, DJ. I mean, Mr. Payne over there. I get it. Coach Payne, you're the man, though. I do love me some Payne. Brandon Payne's legit.
Yeah,
so hopefully he can change that program. So, I mean, if you're going to pick somebody, at least make it be somebody who's at the helm that's solid. I get you. So,
yeah, let's get it.
But, that's where the argument would come.
Yes, sir.
Who's taking the next one? Daniel, is that you?
Yeah, I got this one right here. So we got Santa Cruz Valley, who is coming in ranked 109. They're going to open up with 2 road games at Chandler Prep, who's 166, at Trivium Prep, who's 167. Then they're home against their rival Coolidge, who is 107. Two more road games at Bisbee, who's 156, at Arte Prep, who's 197. Then back-to-back home games against NFL Yet, who's 210, Heritage Academy, who's 151. Then they're at Santan Charter, who is 95. Home against Sequoia Pathway, who is 205. And then they'll have a late bye week and then finish up at home against number 60th ranked Pima. And Max Preps has them going 7-3, while we all have them going a perfect 10-0. So who wants
Man.
to start off that reason
Oh,
why?
I'm starting to give me this one. Like, heck yeah.
Go, Chris.
Yeah, I know, and thank you for reading it because like this is obviously one of your teams. But I'm gonna agree. Obviously, the times that I've actually been able to hang out with you, Daniel, and get to know this program, being one of yours, and seeing them come down to the Tucson market, doing 7-on-7s and things like that, and getting to know Santa Cruz Valley better. I'm gonna say this group right here. Give me the region. You're my region number one, and also on top of that, Final Four contenders for the state championship at 2A. There you go. Out. I'm throwing it out. Santa Cruz Valley, suit it up. You going at least to the Final Four.
And what about you, Rodney? Why
Listen.
10-0 for the Dust Devils?
Listen, them Dust Devils got everybody coming back. Everybody. I don't think people really understand what that means. Like they've been working together for years. You know what I mean? And that's just huge to build a program. I was looking at their schedule right now, and I was like, man, you know, let's be honest, it's hard to go 10-0, right? But let's just say if there's one team there that could like mess up their undefeated season, I'm gonna go Pima. Last game, you know, last year, I believe Pima won last year. 49-20. So I'm looking at that, I'm like, ooh, 10-0. But then again, you got everybody coming back. So that's going to be a good game, Pima versus Santa Cruz Valley. But again, I do agree with you, Chris. Santa Cruz Valley, like Final Four, 2A, like write a check to it.
I'm liking it. And you know what? I'll take the loss with the 3A. I mean, the 2A Pima that keeps going back over and over and over, and they deserve the shout outs. So definitely that would be the one if they're going to get blemished, and let it be right at the end of the season to get it out of the way. You know how hard it is to consistently win. I'll take the loss against Pima at the end and see them in the playoffs every day of the week.
What Chris? Say it with your chest, Chris. Say it with your chest, bro.
Uta.
So for me, I'm definitely in agreement. This is one team that honestly, if I'm gonna pick a Pinal County team to go the furthest in their division, it is going to be the Santa Cruz Valley Dust Devils. And the reason why is you got Nathan Harris at quarterback, you know, 6'1", 185 pounds. That was last year. I've seen him on the 7-on-7 tournament in Pinal County that they hosted over there at Santa Cruz Valley, and it looks like he got taller. His accuracy is a lot better. Threw for over 2,300 yards last year. Then you have Aiden Isagiri and Jonathan Ramos in the backfield. A great 1-2 punch. Both of them rushed for over 500 yards. Three of their and these wide receivers, might not be the biggest guys on the field, but they play with a lot of heart. They play with a lot of speed. You have Daniel Contreras, Ezekiel Perez, and Sean Luis Banda. These kids fly all over the field in this passing game. And then, of course, Nicholas Manuel, Ezekiel Perez, and Joaquin Ramos on the defensive side leading for their tackles. And like I said, this team, seeing them in the 7-on-7 tournament, they were just lighting every team up, including a Poston Butte team. They beat their A team, you know, pretty decisively in that tournament. So I can only imagine they kind of give me that same comparison to how Sabino was last year, just to show how good that they were, is because they have all that camaraderie with the 7-on-7s. I know, Chris, you talk about them always participating in a lot of the stuff here in Southern Arizona, like the 7-on-7 Keno tournament. And I like what Coach Tommy Cortez has going on over there, because this program, after their coach left, Rashard Davis, it seemed like we weren't sure where this program was going to go. So I think Tommy Cortez, his alma mater is right there in Santa Cruz Valley, and he's doing great things with this program. So look out, because they're my favorites to win it all in the 2A division.
My only big question mark on this program and several of the other ones, linemen. What is going on with linemen? So, I mean, that would be the determining factor for a lot of these programs. But
And I
let's
think
go
they
ahead.
lost 2 on the lineman side.
Okay,
If I'm not
nice.
mistaken.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and jump into the last one for this region. Bobby, go ahead and jump into it with
Listen.
Mr. Brandon Payne.
Mr. Brandon Payne, the Brandon Payne, head coach for Sequoia Pathway. Listen, they're ranked 205, right? The first game is at Arte Prep, who's ranked 197. Then the next 2 home games are going to be Valley Lutheran, who's ranked 200. Pronounce this again, Veritas?
Arte.
Veritas.
Veritas.
Okay.
I'm like, man, Veritas Prep 131, at Phoenix Christian 135, at Chandler Prep 166. Then they have a cool bye. Their next game is going to be a home game, Santan Charter, who's ranked 95. Come on,
What was that?
Come on, Daniel. How you pronounce that?
Alchese?
Alchese. Where is that?
That's up in the mountain areas. So
Okay.
one of
Good
the
to
native
know.
teams.
Okay.
Big basketball team, just so you know. They travel like in the tens of thousands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Alchese. 193 at Santa Cruz Valley, 109. Then our last home game, 2 home games are going to be against Heritage Academy, 151, and then NFL Yet 210. Man, Max Press has them going 1-9. Listen, I believe in Sequoia Pathway Pumas. Okay, I don't care what Chris says. I don't care what Daniel says. Hey, Brandon Payne, let's get it. I got y'all going 2-8. Let's go.
Who's your wins?
Wins Santan Charter and NFL Yet.
Okay.
Let's go.
Now, me and Daniel both are sitting at 0-10. But I will say this. Let me go ahead and put up a little bit of support towards Sequoia Pathway.
Okay.
When Donnie was back there a couple years back, the head coach, this was a program that was actually one you couldn't circle. So I will say this, if they can get those kids back in, buying out, hopping in right into the program as if last year didn't exist, I think that, yes, absolutely, we could be circling some of our picks that are losses as wins. So I will give them that. I think a lot of it just got to fall back on how much the program just jumps back into it. That would be it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I definitely agree with you there, Chris. I think if you look at this program and, the details that I was presented with last year, and, I didn't get to know Coach Taylor, who was over there previously, but it was just a person coming in and trying to set the way things were going to go as far as his vision, and kids didn't buy into it. And that's what led to a lot of the kids, not wanting to play for Coach Taylor. So I think you have a different dynamic for Sequoia Pathway than you do, say, like a Santa Rita or a Catalina team, where they're just hurting for players. People love to play for Sequoia Pathway, especially when Coach Donnie was there. So I know if Coach Payne can sit there and establish his presence and make this a team that these student athletes want to play for, they have no way of going 0-10. I don't believe. I think that they can actually sneak out a couple of wins here. It's just all about the buy-in to the program. And because like I said, you can't just fall off completely off of 1 year. There was something, that was in that program that not only the students, but the parents as well. This was a big thing in the Pinal County area as far as what was said, how it was said, and whatnot. I won't get into too much detail with that, but I think if Coach Payne starts off on the right foot with these guys, they're going to be a contender here in the playoffs before you know it.
Absolutely. You know what's crazy? He has so much knowledge. Obviously, I've known Brandon Payne for years. New Mexico DB, right? He's coached at the D1 level, right? So with that, if these kids can just hone in on what he's saying. And again, his knowledge of just the game. You're right. Sequoia Pathway can definitely see a turnaround with them getting back to the playoffs and things like that. So, I mean, I'm excited to see the growth and just to see what happens. So let's go. Let's go.
This could be my team that actually shocks me the most.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that too.
Yeah, I mean, so hands down, let's see what you guys got. Sequoia Pathway, take this post, and take our 0-10 and stuff like that. Typically, when I don't see a team finish a season like you had mentioned, Santa Rita, I'm just gonna go 0-10 until you prove me wrong. So, I mean, I think this is a team like we all just kind of talked about that could easily do that if the program buys into it. So, yeah,
absolutely.
So, I mean. Another region here we got that we just hit up, obviously the 2A Sol. We're learning things, obviously, because this isn't really me and Rodney's pool of water. So definitely, uncharted, land for us. But Downey does have some familiarity with it, which is good. Let's go ahead and show our results on who we actually got kind of going. At the same time, we'll go over how we think the standings will go at the end of the season. So go ahead and drop your wisdom on your season picks here, guys.
Go ahead, Daniel.
All right. So for me, obviously, I have Santa Cruz Valley going 6-0, followed by Heritage Academy going 5-1, Santan Charter going 4-2, Chandler Prep going 3-3, Arte Prep going 2-4, NFL Yet picking up the victory against Sequoia Pathway going 1-5, and then Sequoia Pathway coming up at the end going 0-6, but that will be left to debate.
What about you, Rodney?
Listen, same thing like you two, right? Santa Cruz Valley going 6-0. I have Chandler Prep going 4-2, Heritage Academy going 4-2, and then with that, I have Santan Charter going 3-3, and then Arte Prep and Sequoia Pathway going 2-4. And then last but not least, NFL Yet going 0-6. How about you, Chris?
All right. My number one team, Santa Cruz Valley. My number two team, Heritage Academy. My number three team, give me Santan Charter. My number four team is going to be Chandler Prep. My number five team, Arte Prep. My number six team, NFL Yet. My number 7 team, which I've mentioned, I could definitely easily be wrong, Sequoia Pathway.
Yeah.
So,
hey,
there we are. I mean, other than that, guys, I mean, once again, I appreciate a good wrap up on this one, man. I really think this is a great program and a great region to kind of watch and see what happens. A lot of stuff could happen and impact a lot of the other teams. I think it's a solid region. I mean, especially in the 2A, definitely. I'm really interested to see how they compare up with our 2A San Pedro, which was the show before this. So it'd be really interesting to see how many of these teams make it to the playoffs. Especially I don't know if they're going to do the automatic seed again this year.
I don't think so. I think they kind of got rid of it, or at least at the 3A level.
I know they did at 3.
Yeah. So we'll see what 2A. I'll kind of try to keep track on that one. See what's going on.
A lot to find out, but definitely an interesting region. What's the next one that we guys are going to do on the next show?
So we're going to be going back to the 5A with the 5A Sonoran region. So back in your territory, Chris, and I also got a team out in Maricopa in that program as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about this 5A Sonoran programs.
There's a lot of talented kids, actually a bunch of kids currently that are actually getting offers and everything in this region. So it's going to be fun. We'll hit it all up. It's going to be an exciting one. Guys, make sure you're liking, following, subscribing, sharing the post, everything you can. Let's make this pay attention. Let's get excited with some football coming up here in Southern Arizona, as well as the Canal County and so on. Oh,
absolutely.
We'll dip back in this again. But hey, and also watch out because these guys are trying to play a lot of football, some college football.
Who's next?
Who's coming?
Rodney, I know you got first week, so we'll see. We'll see if we.
Hey, you already know. Listen, hey, put this on. Maurice Glass from Coolidge, running back, linebacker. I want you.
Oh, there we go.
And another big shout out. We got Rodney's Game Time Senior Bowl.
Go Cuckoo!
coming up. Ronnie, have you released the
The
location?
location? Nope, have not. We won't do that. You know what? The next show. Okay, let me see. What's today? Today's what? Tuesday? Hey, the next show we're doing, I'm releasing it. So let's go Thursday, Friday. Let's release it. New location. Let's go. Holla at your boy. We're excited.
All right. So hey guys, make sure you tune in because we dropping all kinds of stuff, and there's some really cool gifts that are actually going out with this next game.
I like it.
Don't tell nobody.
All right, guys. Other than that, great to see you guys again. Chime in. Make sure you do it. Let's do it. See y'all later.
Peace.